Today, we're going to share some stories about when a restaurant or a food truck gets in trouble and how they try to save themselves a couple of pennies when all they're really doing is endangering the public. Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of 5 food truck vending books, including Food Truck 101 and Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business.
I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Because I've got a couple of stories, and I'm sure you do too.
Sure.
About a situation where it didn't go the way you wanted it to in the restaurant, especially you being the inspector. Talk about some of the things that restaurants have faced on the negative side, perhaps being shut down for a day or having to face an administrative hearing, those kind of things.
Yeah. Like I said, there's quite a few where you mean kind of like where we had to take almost legal action. I think a couple of weeks ago, there was, I kind of just commented on one of the posts that we had on the training page where, I said pretty much what all of our rules and regulations fall under administrative laws, what they call it. It's a whole bunch of, the rule books are 200, 300 pages long. We're not really technically breaking a criminal law if we don't, keep something under temperature or control, right, or, do, but it all kind of originates under 1 or 2 general statutes, which are breaking the law. So, which would be criminal law. And so the number one way to be criminally, when it comes to restaurant operations, to be breaking a criminal law would be to operating without a permit. In the days where I was doing it, I had to pull a few permits, like I said, either temporarily for rodent infestation was more common than you would ever expect, So the way the rules say is you have hazards, which kind of everything you get a point taken off here for there, or half a point is considered a hazard. It's not going to shut us down. But there's a small group of and surf safe teachers this way called imminent hazards. And so imminent meaning immediate, danger, urgent.
Right.
And those will shut you down temporarily or permanently if you can't fix it. So rodent infestations is one of those. So if you got a few droppings here and there, so you see a little critter run across, that's a hazard. That's not going to shut us down. But there was times where it was an infestation where, you open drawers, you open doors or go in, it feels like the whole restaurant's crawling. I saw that more times than I would have ever wanted to, coming out of the floor drains where they've had, they're breeding in the grease traps or wherever they can find, and the cockroaches just come out. You turn the light on and they scurry. That was a big one where you try to work with folks. When I first started, there weren't smartphones. It's probably like, they're now. It's I see videos pop up every once in a while where some employees, after they've left, if they're not working there anymore, they'll post some of those videos if you don't watch out. So now there's a little more to it than just a bad inspection or bad PR that way. But I saw that a few times. The hood had a place had a fire marshal call me one time, and this place tried to stay open even after we shut them down. But a fire marshal called me when I was working as an inspector. I'd run into them every once in a while. You get to know them just because, especially opening a restaurant or a food truck, you're both, doing the same thing. And so we get to know them that way. And so we had each other's phone numbers. He calls me. Then the marshal says, "Hey, can you come down to such and such restaurant?" I said, "Yeah, let me finish what I'm doing." And I'll be down there. He said, "Well, I think this one, I need you to get here really, really soon." And he said, "Because I see you graded them a few weeks ago. So I called you. Your name's up on the wall." Said, and it wasn't a very good grade. Remember? I said, "Oh, I remember." He said, "Can you come down?" I said, "Man, he's there. This can't be good." So I was there in a few minutes. What had happened is they went in the morning. This is really important for us, all those of us that have the hoods in our trucks and trailers, especially the deep fryers. Why do we have to get them clean? Why do we have to get the sticker on them in some states and some municipalities want us to get the hood cleaning company to come clean it and then verify that they cleaned it? This was the perfect example. They went in the morning. They had not cleaned their hood vent system. They had not cleaned, all the way up to the roof. The grease was just accumulating. And if you look in your vents, if you don't take the filters off every night or every few nights and wash them, then they're not doing their job. And it just got bad. Long story short, when they came in the morning, started turning on those burners, those gas burners, and you got that open flame, all that grease that was caught up in the hood starts getting liquid again. Where's it going to do? It's going to drop right down on that open flame. The Ansel system, which is what a lot of us have, the fire suppression system, did its job. The powder went everywhere, put out the fire, did its job. But the reason I said, okay, good, what do you need me for? Because he's going to have them shut down a day or two till they got to work. He said, well, found them out back washing off the chicken and the beef, getting all that soot and that powder off of the chicken and beef. And I thought, yeah, okay. So I think we're gonna have to we had some administrative hearings on that one. And I have a lot of compassion. I have a lot of empathy on my side of it because I'd been on the management side up at that point. I hadn't owned one when I was a little bit younger, but I had managed. It's a cutthroat business. You've had the brick and mortars, you've had the trucks. I have too. There's some times where we have bad judgment in the name of a dollar and keeping that, not having that food waste and not throwing something out. If it gets like that, you can't have a lapse of judgment just because, it'll be okay, we'll just wash this off, and if we cook it, nobody will know the difference. And just going, wow, so that's a tough one. That was probably the biggest eye-opening one I had was that someone was willing to go to those lengths of one, not cleaning it, not getting it professionally cleaned, and then thinking it's okay to just wash it off and go about business. So we had to bag up all the meat, and I had to put a bunch of forms on it, and so that I was disposing it myself. I took it all with me in big black trash bags, and had to do some extra paperwork on that one.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. We had a hurricane come through. It's been a while back. Yeah. And we were closed down for a little over 24 hours. We knew we had lost power. Mm-hmm. And by the time we got back in, the health department it's not called the health department, Florida, but the inspectors were going to all the different restaurants. And they came into our restaurant. And of course, the staff that was with me is like, Bill, there's an inspector here. He's not here to do anything. He's here to help.
Yes.
So he comes back and we're talking, and I ask him a few questions about some of the stuff, what we maybe could salvage and what we just have to, not even chance, just get rid of.
Yep.
And he said I was the first one that asked him any questions. Everybody else just tried to push him out of the door.
I had a feeling that's where you're going with it. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw that. I see that now as even an owner operator. I got now Facebook and Instagram and everything else is what I've seen posts. I live in the mountains of North Carolina, so we get some good snowstorms. I've seen when it's cold outside and we've lost power for a day or two, where restaurants say, "Hey, the ovens are still working. We don't have power, but the gas oven's working and the beer's still cold. So come on out." And you're just going, "Holy cow!" So, but again, it goes. I understand why. We all understand, in the name of not having to throw anything out and save that money. Can push us into doing some things we wouldn't normally do, or that we would look down on if we heard somebody else doing. But it's easy to get caught in that trap. So he was definitely coming by to make sure that no power means you do not open. Loss of refrigeration is 100% grounds for staying closed.
Well, I mean, by that point we'd gotten power back, and they were trying to help people out. And basically our stance was, it was in the refrigerator, we're getting rid of it. Yeah. And it was in the freezer, we're cooking it today. Because nothing had thawed out to the point where it was above 40.
That's I saw that question not too long ago on a test, on a ServSafe Manager test, where it said, what would you do if there was a power outage for a short amount of time, or disruption to the power, however it worded it. And it said, and the correct answer, just to shorten it up, was save anything, anything that had thawed but didn't get above 41, we can save it. And anything over 41 degrees, or some states are going to go a little more strict, 40. Food Code says 41. A lot of states like to say 40 just because it's an easier number. Anything that didn't get over that minimum or that maximum temperature, then save it and use it. So that is very legitimate, very, very, the rules aren't out there to hurt us. I think that's the main thing, is they're not out there just to, they do feel anti-business more often than not, but
they do.
They're there. Like I said earlier, I would say majority that I've seen are reactive. I saw the rules that were there, but kind of not really addressed much. Once COVID happened, I saw there was a little more kind of, they started readdressing some of the rules that kind of had fallen by the wayside. Some of them were like when to use hand sanitizer. or they call it antiseptic, before March of 2020, we weren't buying cases of hand sanitizer. And so they really weren't paying a lot of attention or asking us questions about it. But, so that kind of came up. Some other stuff. Like infrared thermometers. A lot of people started getting infrared thermometers as we opened dining rooms back up to make sure staff or customers didn't have a fever, and saying, hey, yeah, you can use that in a kitchen, but you can only use it, on equipment. Don't use it on food.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff started coming up, and my point is that they don't just say, hey, we're going to talk about this today. It is because it is happening incorrectly somewhere, and they're in the federal code, or the federal FDA is catching wind of it. That, wow, a lot of places think they can just use hand sanitizer now instead of washing their hands after they leave the restroom or take out the trash or go from raw food to cooked food. We gotta put that memo back out there to remind them to wash their hands first.
Yeah.
You still have to wash your hands. You still have to use the regular stem thermometer to check that chicken, not just click it with a laser and it says 350, but the inside's still pink. So it's all reactive. It's all there for the greater good. And I hate to hammer that in, but I think if we just change that shift and that mentality that they, they are there to help us.
Absolutely. Then
it's for the better. And it quickly, once you do it right and it becomes your routine, then it becomes your routine. It's not causing any more stress or any more money. And then you learn to go, well, heck, everybody should be doing it this way. You start getting mad when people are doing it incorrectly, because you know how important it is. Get those systems in place. So that would be my key to someone new. Say, start the system, start it right from day one. Start doing it that way. Get your systems in place. Get trained. And get as much knowledge as you can if you haven't already. And a lot of people have been in the industry forever. So just sharpen your knowledge and just get those systems in place. So when you do have staff, everybody's doing it correctly. Have the checklist, the opening up and close down checklist, and once it's done correctly, it just life is easy. And then you couldn't see doing it any other way.
We were speaking a few minutes ago about, auditors coming in from Burger King corporate or whatever.
Yeah.
If you do things right, just like you've been talking about from the beginning, you don't have to worry about when somebody's coming in for an audit. Your response would be, big deal. Come on down.
Right.
We're doing everything right to begin with,
Yeah. When I was inspector, I'd have those ones that were doing it, they're proud of, they're doing it right, and because they wanted to, and they knew they're supposed to as well. But they would, when we'd get behind, they go, you're supposed to be there hopefully every quarter or every 4 months. And then, if you get backed up and it's been 6 months, they're going, well, finally, we've been waiting on you. That was always a good feeling,
Right.
Rather than, like you said, some of them are going, run out the door, make sure the dumpster's closed, go check the bathrooms, go do X, Y, and Z before the inspector sees it. It was good to see the ones that go, finally, we've been waiting on you. So that's where you want to be as an operator, going, come on in. You
got to be prepared. And realistically, you're not being prepared for the health inspector. You're being prepared for your guests. As long as you take that attitude, then when the inspector shows up, it is no big deal.
You're ready for that. You're ready for that. You're ready for that high number on the wall. Come on, give it to me. I want my cousin to see that 97, 98, 100. Yep.
Exactly. Tomorrow, Joe and I are going to be talking about hand washing and how you can time yourself by singing the ABC song. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow, because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.